Where? In the bottom right-hand
ASL
corner.
Prime League, round of
Playing
32.
in the pink trunks. It's...
Livibee.
Okay.
And up in the top left-hand corner, in the red trunks, we have for Micro Gamers Esports.
MyDarling.
And this is a very, very quick double guess we have from MyDarling here.
Indeed. Although it's interesting to see that I believe we had a hatch first from Livibee.
Yes, there
So
was
we're looking into a bit of a macro game from our Zerg player. No massive shenanigans, and also more importantly, no interesting shenanigans of proxies anywhere. I have to admit, I don't know. I'm trying to sort of size out what's happening. Apart from anything else, this is not a map that we normally use, is it? So
Yeah, indeed. This is a very odd map in my eyes, I would say. I mean,
why so?
I have never seen this map. I really have to admit here, because I've never seen this map. However,
Sneaky worker.
This is going to be, or this was actually from MyDarling. It was a 1-Rex FE, so.
And the in-base, the fact that there is that in-base, the in-base expansion means this is a good map for macro. Livibee, however, will see pretty much everything that she needs to. She'll see that there's the expansion's up, the factory's done, and at some point soon there's going to be presumably an add-on on that factory. I'm going to guess it's a reactor because that is the standard thing. Oh, hello, moving.
Yep, it is the standard thing, and we have Livibee researching the link speed, also pulling off the guys out of the gas. So
Reduced macro play. Okay.
yeah, both players are
Patreon.com
opting for some
/ASL.
macro play here. That's for sure.
Nice. I actually looking at it now. I like the fact that if we look at the wall, there's the add-on is no longer part of the wall, and he's actually put a bunker in there instead.
Yeah.
That scouting worker, however, has been picked off, having seen that the natural was down. And actually, Livibee putting down a third, fairly standard timing. So again, we're not seeing anything unusual. What do we think? I mean, again, sort of looking at the way this map's set up, and there we go. There's a transition. It looks like we're going to see. Is that Banshees I spy?
Should be. Could be. There's a tag lag on the barracks. So, a medevac first.
Like it is. So it could end up being Hellbats at that point.
Well, we do definitely have the quite early command center for MyDarling. We have a third hatchery for Livibee as well.
The interesting thing for me at this point actually is looking at the different distance between the bases, basically. So it doesn't actually seem that far to where Livibee's put her third down. So I'm wondering, is that a sort of a solid defensive place? Is that because there is only basically that transition past the rocks? There's a small juke around, I think, but
it's kind of open.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get around the rocks here behind the grass.
Oh, and Livibee gets a full scout. And actually, from 2 angles. Livibee wants to make damn sure she knows what's going on in this base, and while she's probably going to lose 2 overlords over it, she has seen everything that MyDarling is doing.
Yeah, she did see the Banshee, she did see the tech lab working, so
she's seen the Hellions.
Yeah, she's seen the Hellions, she's seen basically everything. She instantly puts down some spores everywhere, so that's...
Interesting. The only thing she didn't see, but I think she's anticipating anyway, is the armory that's just gone down next to the gas in MyDarling's main, which Hellbat Banshee is good stuff.
Oh, well, it's actually double armory. That would indicate some mech play out of MyDarling, which is very interesting.
It's a good play. I mean, apart from anything else, on a map like this where it looks like there's all sorts of interesting chokes, you don't want anything else as a mech player.
Yep.
You want to be able to force people to wander into the siege tank range.
But for now, we have Hellbats in the third hatchery, and there was a Banshee. I heard a Banshee somewhere.
There was a Banshee, but it's being chased away a little. There's a lot of queens out for Livibee now, and those banelings actually doing quite a lot of damage, but Livibee having to do some interesting transfuses just to be safe. But the banelings are going to probably help clear this one up right away.
There's a Banshee. I knew I saw it.
Banshee goes down, and then nice hold there. It cost quite a few resources, but ultimately I think that was worth it.
It wasn't actually tough to hold for Livibee with 4 queens and an overseer there, but that's just because she saw everything before, so she could actually prepare for it like really well. So
yeah, absolutely.
That wasn't that hard for her to hold, to be honest. So there's a second Banshee on the way, though.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's always sort of a chance of pushing in and doing something, and that its base doesn't have a spore on it. So I guess we'll see what happens. The creeps bit. Oh, I like the changeling play. Actually, I like the fact you're just sending a couple of changelings out. Eventually, they'll find something.
Yep.
Although I will laugh a little if they get close to the base and then get killed by tanks because they haven't seen anything yet, but the tanks have seen them.
Well, I think you have to target them before they get shot.
Yeah.
Missile turret's always a good thing to have as a Terran player. And yeah, there's the mech play. There's a lot of factories.
Interestingly enough, it's also mech play also makes it more easier to spot changelings because you don't have marines.
Yeah.
So if you see marines wandering around your base, they are clearly changelings because you didn't build them.
Well, you did build some, but they should be in the bunker.
They are in the bunker, actually. Yeah. And the changelings seeing everything, including that banshee, I believe, that just went past.
Yeah, they see.
Attack on the third, however, is probably going to get cleaned up fairly quickly because, as we said before, Hellbat's good unit.
Yeah, at least for against the Zerglings. However, we have Thor's on the way, so
because he's anticipating the meter transition, which actually isn't a bad ball.
Well, there's a Spire, so there definitely is the possibility for mutas, and Livibee instantly going into Swarmhouse. Enduring Locust on the way. We have the +1 range upgrade on the way for Livibee. We have the ship plating on the way for MyDarling, Thor's.
Well, he's already got +1 weapons, so I think I'm actually surprised. Ah, there we go. That's +2. The question is, will the Terran composition actually be able to do much against the Swarm host if Livibee gets enough of them up? Apart from the Banshees, I'm not persuaded that they will, to be quite honest.
It depends a little bit. If MyDarling actually would keep building Thors, then probably not. But she should get some tanks out to be able to deal with the Swarm host or some more Banshees.
That's the thing. That's the one thing I think that our Terran player has going for them is the fact that if the Banshees can get to the right place and there isn't any static defense covering the Swarm hosts, they can be just taken to bits. But you need to basically assume that your opponent isn't going to spore them up, which is perfectly doable.
Well, she's getting tanks now as well. There are already 10 Swarm hosts on the field, 5 more in production, which is a lot.
That's going to sting.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where there are certain units in the game where if you don't see them coming, if you don't anticipate them properly, they just hurt you. And Swarm hosts are definitely part of that group.
Look at the creep spread. Wow. Look at the creep spread.
The thing about the creep spread is not only is it very, very good, but it's also vital because the Swarm hosts need to be able to maneuver, and off creep, they're a bit rubbish, if I'm quite honest. Like, just maneuvering to get away. So if you can get creep spread, if you can get, like, stuff to protect them, then, yeah, basically there's no reason not to have them on creep. Although I'm interested in the fact that there's a lot of
sorry to interrupt here. We have an assault going on from Hellbats into Livibee's 4th base. That was... She gets some workers killed, 9 workers killed by MyDarling. So this was actually quite worth it. Also, MyDarling did spot the Swarm host before. She knows now what she's up against.
Yeah. And presumably is making Tank and Raven and so on to account for that, basically.
Yeah. That is very much true.
The question... Oh, I was going to say, what's the plan with regards to the Banshees, but apparently the plan is Mutalisks.
Also, we have another run by from the Hellions into Livibee's 5th base here. She's...
Spine them up.
Oh, she's saving some drones into spine crawlers, but
just to force the extra
losing them to the Hellbats. So that kind of was not really worth it. Swarm hosts come in to help to save the day, and it does look like they do. Banshees in the 4th base. I really like what MyDarling is doing here. She keeps Livibee moving. She keeps being everywhere.
She keeps basically not giving Livibee the time to recover and not actually be able to do that much because she's always responding to attacks. And I like that. I like that sort of that style of just, hey, you know that stuff you wanted to do? Can you do this instead? Can you respond to this attack? Can you respond to this attack on the base in the bottom left there?
And it's
like some good work.
She really wants this base. She really wants this base. And again, going in from the top. This is really nice play here out of.
Well, it's that standard truism about fighting against Zerg.
Yeah,
you attack with a mutas or not.
You try to get the Zerg down on, well, 2 bases, 3 bases maximum, and you try to just keep him there, not let him get out, keep him under pressure, just to make him move. Absolutely. And not move towards your base.
Yep.
So.
Hellbats. A blue flame Hellbats as well, which against the spine won't make any difference, but against the drones makes a hell of a difference.
Yeah.
Just the sheer amount
Actually,
of
there are 34 workers killed by now. From
the scary thing is,
MyDarling.
He's still ahead.
Yep.
Lots of spines being made. I think the constant harassment is basically at some point Livibee's going to be like, right, okay, I know what you're doing. I see how it works. I'm just going to divide my forces like this, and then it's going to stop happening because she's good. She's going to put up a defense against it. I'm interested in the Viking transition, by the way.
Well, maybe MyDarling just anticipates some kind of switch. Livibee is getting the hive, and MyDarling did see she's getting the hive, so.
Oh. Could be in anticipation of a transition, I suppose.
Yeah.
Livibee's making workers, though.
Or she's maybe just trying to get some overlords. I mean, kill overlords here and there will force the Zerg to produce more overlords, and that's lava that he cannot put into units or drones. So.
Ooh, those banshees are gonna have a bad time if they get found. And it looks like they won't be, but only just.
Look how many mutas there are. Holy moly. That's
a lot of muta.
That's 27 mutas on the field.
Yep.
That's quite a lot.
They can burn down turrets at that point, but the Thors will still be a problem. Oh, not if they're taken up by swarm hosts, they won't be.
Yeah, indeed. One Thor almost dies immediately. And tanks are trying to protect the Thors. But it's not
the workers are still dying.
Working. Workers are dying left, right, and center here. We have some Vikings coming. We have the Ravens coming into the field as well.
The base in the bottom left, however, is about to go down as a Banshee picks it off.
She doesn't use the Ravens, though. Now she does.
PDD, there we go.
Now the PDDs.
Which is the standard response, I believe, against all manner of things.
She does manage to save the command center, which is really important.
Indeed. The interesting thing for me is that while we weren't looking, the Banshees in the bottom left did kill off that base and all of the static defense around it.
Oh wow.
And the tanks now moving in on Livibee's base on the upper right hand side. The mutas will come in to try and clean this up, but unless they can deal with that
base will fall. I assume it will.
Yeah, the base can't be saved
now.
If it's focus fired.
She's focusing the swarm host. She's focusing
the brute. The locusts, but that means that
the Hellbats get the base. The base is down. It's everything gets cleaned up.
Yeah. The thing is, at this point, the main problem that Livibee's going to have is just... Actually, I was going to say workers, but Livibee's still 20 workers ahead. So the main problem is going to be engaging the army without using the locusts, because at some point there's going to... Oh, there we go. The muta's going to move up into the left-hand side, but there's mines in there, which we do horrible things to them. And that's...
Oh, but the base will fall this time. There it is down.
The thing is, those mutas there, a couple of them on a scant 13 hit points, will make it out alive and therefore will be a force to be reckoned with in about 2 minutes' time. Because their hit point regeneration is ludicrous.
Yep.
Question is, will the swarm host be able to do anything here? Oh, they've been targeted. They need to run. Oh, and they're actually running into the enemy rather than away from it.
Which is a very smart thing to do, as the splash damage is actually quite immense.
Splash damage also doesn't care whether you're friend or foe. If you're in the radius, you die.
It's splash damage, and it doesn't matter what you are, whether you're red or pink.
But tanks, however, taking up the space of Livibee's at the 7 o'clock position. Again, it's just constant Terran pressure. It's constant harassment. It's constant pulling the entirety of Livibee's army somewhere, because if you can guarantee that the army is in one place, you just attack somewhere else, and yes, you might lose the entire force you sent up.
The hatchery survives with like 50 health points, but MyDarling gets the 3 o'clock position hatchery.
And the Locust will be dispatched to track that down and kill it, but I don't know. The Thors might not get out of there alive, but the Hellions did manage to make it down to the next base.
I kind of don't like the fact that MyDarling pulls apart her army too far. I mean, 2 Thors there, 2 tanks and the Thor at the other side of the map. She did get the bases, yes, but then again, it makes, as a mech Terran, you kind of want to keep your army together.
Your army is strongest when together. So.
Yep.
The interesting thing for me, actually, at this point is the fact that despite all of this, despite everything that's happened, Livibee's still got a worker lead. And does not care for turrets, apparently.
These mutants just don't care for the turrets. They just take them out. They just killed the workers, killed the turrets.
And then flew away.
She did lose some of them. Well, there are still 21 mutants on the field. Yes. I don't think she does care too much just now.
The thing is, the Zerg army supply is now 33 army supply less than the Terrans. And while these tanks will probably be a nice donation because they are kind of uncovered, even that I don't think will balance things out. Although the Locusts might be able to do a serious amount of work here.
There are only 4 tanks, and there's still a considerable amount of Swarmers. Still 14 Swarmers left on the field just now. Nice Seeker missiles.
Good God, the Seeker missiles.
Kind of a little bit of mismicro here from Livibee.
The thing is, even having been damaged, the swarm hosts are still powerful, and those Thors are a testament to that. The fact that Livibee's managing to snipe bases here, snipe add-ons, snipe bases, and kill the workers, which is really important, because Livibee's now nearly double the opponent's worker supply.
Yeah, also, but meanwhile, we have Livibee's Mutalisks killing all of MyDarling's macro command centers, so...
And also finishing this base off.
She's kind of a trouble. Well, there are 15 workers left for MyDarling. She is in real trouble just now.
The interesting thing for me there is the fact that we're looking at... I was going to say we're looking at even army supply, but that last round of fire from the swarm host seemed to have taken actually quite a lot of it down.
Well,
so actually, Livibee's looking in a strong position here.
Yeah, I mean, she's covered 3/3 of the...
attacked by Murlocs.
3/3 of the map in creep, so... despite the fact that MyDarling did do a very good job early on in the game by denying bases, I'm not sure
if... was just able to handle the harassment, basically.
Yep, another base gets taken out, but Mutalisks are left, right, and center, and unfortunately, planetary fortresses, they don't shoot up, so there's another couple workers going to die.
I think if planetary fortresses shot up, Terran would actually be Imba.
Yeah, well, people complain Terran is Imba anyway already, so...
I wish that were true. I wish that were true. I would probably be a little higher in the ladder if Terran was Imba.
Seeker missile.
And unfortunately, no, the distance between was too great. The scary thing is, I don't think if you notice it, I don't think there's a unit in the game that can't get away from a Seeker missile. I think maybe Queens can't. Overlords, maybe? I know High Templar.
Overlords, maybe, but Overlords are not really like... It's nothing you really want to spend Seeker because missiles on Overlords, it's kind of like, no, you're not gonna do that. Twesby is hiding in the... and another command center goes down from MyDarling. She's trying to sneak back into the game, producing workers.
The problem for MyDarling at this point is the fact that while the PDDs would be good and would be able to basically negate these swarm hosts entirely, there's just too much happening at the moment, and the reinforcements are being cut to bits. So if those ravens trying to get some seeker missiles off, forcing the swarm host back, which is a good strat. I mean, the problem is, given the the time and space that MyDarling was able to buy with that, I don't think it was worth it.
Yeah, well, she's losing production at home, like left, right, and center. She did just lose all of her starports but one. So there is no ravens anytime soon. There's the factories going down. There's the engineering base going down. So she can't even build turrets anymore.
The thing is, I can see why you would force the swarm host back in that way. You're forcing them to disengage so that they don't get hit by seeker missiles, so you can use the rest of your army to kill off this base. The thing is, once the Mutalisks make their presence felt, and they are about to, that air army becomes a lot less scary. And the ravens aren't that good against mutas.
No,
the tanks might get picked off.
Oh well, 3 Thors aren't all that good against 41 Mutalisks either. So.
Oh lordy, really?
That's just not going to be enough for MyDarling, I feel.
The thing is, if we're looking at the incomes, Terran Player doesn't really have one. Seeing as how they have 4 workers, which I think aren't mining much if they are. So, the mutas find that base and go, no, I'm sorry, you know that money you're not having? Yep. You know that money that I'm not letting you have?
There's only 1 base left here for MyDarling, 6 workers left, and there's a GG.
And that right there was one hell of a game.
Patreon.com/ASL.
And here we are. We're spawning in on Overgrowth. We're in the bottom left-hand position, victorious in the last game after some ferocious multitasking and some excellent swarm host usage. This is...
Livibee.
And up in the top right-hand corner in the red trunks, currently 1-0 down, we have
MyDarling.
So, bit of an early scout there from Livibee. Getting that crucial information that there's a base on the low ground, which actually feels like a risk to me, but never mind. It's one of those things where my brain says no.
It's a very ballsy thing to do on Overgrowth. I agree.
The thing is, at this stage, Livibee, I don't know if Livibee has enough forces to guarantee the kill on the natural. So the question is, would it be worth... I suspect if she was going to go for it, she'd probably pull out more lings rather than drones. That said, pressure could be being applied right now, and that Overlord is not crucial, but still, that's 100 minerals you don't want to have to respend. But never mind.
Yeah, and it's also a lava you don't want to spend on an Overlord again.
Indeed.
So, getting that early Overlord snipe is actually a very good thing. It does do damage to the Zerg economy, and that's what you want to do.
We're seeing a bit of a push out by the Marines just to force those lings back. Just, a bit of a shove just to get away from my base. Thank you very much. And now we see whether there's a transition coming up into... I mean, the problem is that in this sort of game, it's very difficult to tell at this stage whether we're seeing mech or whether we're seeing bio. I like to think we're going to see mech again, because it wasn't bad last time. What do you think?
No, it wasn't bad at all. It was absolutely not bad. It was... I mean, mech is, for me, kind of hard to play against Zerg. So I think MyDarling did do a decent job with all the multitasking she did. It was just like Livibee was better in preventing her, preventing the attacks and stuff.
I'm
However,
interested
Livibee
actually
opening the same way as she did last game.
Indeed. I'm interested in the worker that MyDarling attempted to hide at the bottom of the third of Livibee. It was, however, spotted by an overlord and has now gone in and been picked off by them queens. I have to admit, it's one of those things where I constantly underestimate queens and how good they are as a unit.
And they are. They really are. And they actually really, really help against Hellion aggression. They help fending off the Hellbats if Terran goes for the Hellbat pushes. They're really nice. Really good units. Very slow off creep, but still.
But we do see a similar setup from last game, and while Livibee hasn't seen precisely everything, you can probably assume a certain amount from the add-on that we saw being built and the fact that there was the starport.
Yeah. As soon as she sees the starport, she is probably... I mean, she saw the tech lab, she saw the starport.
Yeah,
so
there's a certain amount of predictability that comes from this one, I think.
Yeah, so she definitely knows that there will be something with starports and tech labs, and what else could that be other than banshees?
At this stage in the game, not a lot.
At this stage of the game, at least, yeah, indeed. And there we have the Hellions. So
they're going to go after the third, and that's going to be an interesting thing to defend, because while Livibee's going to see it coming because of, well, Overlord, is the creep connected now? Oh no, the creep is connected now, I think, yeah. So
almost, yeah.
It is basically possible to get the units there. The thing is, the Hellbats do so much damage.
Yeah, and it might actually be possible with the help of the Banshee. There are 4 queens, though. There is no detection yet for Livibee.
The thing is, the Banelings are coming in, and the great thing for Banelings... Ooh, nice.
Ooh, very nice cleanup here.
The thing about Banelings is that the advantage they have over the Hellbats is the Hellbats have a range of 2, but in order to get that to hit the Banelings, they have to get within the splash radius of 2.2 that the Banelings use. So it's one of those times where, weirdly enough, Hellions are actually better because they have range 5 and can get away.
Yeah, they could have gone away. But then again, Livibee again doing a great job fending off this little Harris here with the Overseer just in time to get the Banshee.
And scouting in the main.
Yeah.
Not actually seeing that much in terms of useful information regarding things like the transition, whether it's going to be mech or bio.
Yeah, but that's just because there is no transition just yet.
Well, there's another armory coming down, so...
Yeah, well, there are 3 factories on the way, so there
go.
is the mech transition just now.
Nice. Okay.
Taking a 3rd as well for herself. MyDarling is still doing a quite nice job. Again, nice multi-front attacks here. 2 Banshees not just doing some damage here. Nibbling on the
workers, trying to avoid to line them up.
Nest on the workers. Did she actually kill workers? Oh yeah, MyDarling killed 15 workers already. 15! This is a ton. And actually,
that's a ton, especially at this stage in the game.
Yeah, Livibee's only 1 worker ahead, so basically, MyDarling is ahead.
The thing is, Livibee could be actually in a bit of trouble here. The worker kills are, while they're important, there's also, well, for a while there was also the fact that the Terran player could just attack, and there's no mining happening at the natural. The Evo chambers are being shot up. The Lings tried to go in and do something, but it looks like they mostly perished against the backs of the Hellbats in the front of the natural. And I think Livibee's going to be depending on this Mutalisk transition to basically save her life.
Mutalisk saving at least the 3rd hatchery. Mines come into play as well. Wow, that was 34 workers killed in total. And we have MyDarling 20 workers up just now. So this is a quite nice position MyDarling put herself into.
Indeed. The thing is, because the worker supply is so far back behind where it was at this point last game, it's difficult to see the ending happening in the same way. And I like the mass repair on that turret. It is costing a lot in workers, but it's also costing a lot in Mutalisks. Thor's coming into play.
Oh wow, it's nice. This was a really nice defense here from MyDarling, hugging the turret, getting as many Mutalisks as possible. I really like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Blue Flame on the way. Do we have upgrades? Yeah, we have the vehicle plating. We have the +2 ship weapons on the way for MyDarling. There is one evolution chamber, but there are no upgrades yet for. Damn it! There is no upgrade other than the link speed for Livibee just yet. Mita's caught out of position with the Thors a little bit.
You wouldn't think there's something that big that Thors could be sneaky, but it turns out they can. So, actually, looking at this now, Livibee's actually getting back into this Warhouse game, and the worker counts are stabilizing, and high-sec auto-tracking from our Terran friend. I'm curious about that one. That's Planetary Fortress turret fun, that is. And also, more importantly, it's auto-turret fun from Ravens. How many Ravens are there on the field at the moment? There are...
It's adding +1 to the turret range and to Planetary Fortresses. So this is actually a really nice upgrade, to be honest. I think they outranged the Mutalisks now with the +1 upgrade. So
turrets.
yeah.
Ooh, nice.
So that's actually worth getting it against Zerg.
That's some nice work on my
and now I think MyDarling just dealt a very, very tough blow to Livibee, getting that third base and getting swarm hosts as well. The swarm hosts that Livibee needs really, really desperately right now. That is really tough here.
I was also very impressed by the fact that there was a couple of workers down there to repair things, and they were actively, while the spine crawlers were trying to poke in and kill off the Hellbats that were threatening the third, the workers were just sitting there behind them with the drills going, and repair, and repair.
Yep. They can just never die. Just because the workers are repairing everything. Another tank coming
and
to...
Livibee spots that and is like, wait a minute, stop that. I like that. That was some very nice later. It's one of those little things, one of those little tricks that really make a big difference, because it turns out Terran workers can repair each other and also all the mech that they're playing alongside, and it's just like, at this point, it's all gravy.
A Terran mech army actually is really powerful just because of the workers.
Indeed,
if you bring workers, Raven barely gets away there.
And I like the fact that the Ravens come in. I mean, the Raven, it's a crucial thing in the fight against. Oh my god, the tanks.
That was almost free tanks, but she's going for the workers instead. And
no turrets
it does look like she isn't really decisive what she's actually wanting to do with the... but that Raven is dead.
Is a free Raven.
That is a free Raven there, yeah.
The thing is, at this stage in the last game, Livibee was in roughly the same position, but had, like, I think twice the Mutalisk count.
Yeah.
More than twice the Mutalisk count at this stage, so it was a lot more feasible to do that sort of thing. But
then again, now she's picking up a couple of MyDarling's units, reinforcement units. This is actually still a good thing to do. There is not a lot of Mutalisks, but they are active on the map. They are active on the map, and this is really important to keep them active. And she's sneaking up the Mutalisk count. There are 4 Mutalisks in production. She's slowly but surely getting it up, also increasing the swarm host count. She's slowly sneaking back into the game.
And that's the problem with playing against people like this. You cannot afford to let them have that. You can't give them that chance to get back in, because you know what they will. They will get back into this game and they will mess you up.
Yeah, they will just...
That Thor is on move command. Oh god, if those Mutalisks had seen it.
Oh, they didn't, but that Thor is still very lonely there, and...
Just imagine the Thor sitting there going, oh,
I'm all lonely.
Likes me.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do was shoot Mutalisks. Why does no one like Thor? I'll tell you why nobody likes Thor. He keeps getting hammered. Hey, so I did that.
Oh well, but for now...
It's my kind
2 Thors and a turret in range.
God,
those Mutalisks are going to die, all of them.
Gone. Yeah, ain't nothing saving them.
They don't have
Unfortunately.
upgrades either. The Thors have the +2, +2, +2,
Oh,
+2.
wow.
So
And again, that's an artifact of the fact that MyDarling was able to get much better aggression off much earlier.
yeah,
Liverbee's on 2 base.
Livibee is again on 2 base, and MyDarling getting away with most of her army as well. So this is really a good job that MyDarling
Yeah,
is doing
absolutely.
here.
As a contrast to the last game, just getting that early attack in means that while Livibee has no upgrades whatsoever,
So,
the mech army's 2-2 and getting 3-3.
to be
So
honest, why we are not looking?
there's a base at the top
Livibee took a base in the top left-hand corner,
and there's about
just spotted by MyDarling, who was like, wait a second, I cannot land my command center there?
Livibee, this is my base.
Yeah.
This is not your base.
this
Why are you
is-
here? Although it did pull a sizable amount of the army out of the way, so now
Yeah.
Liverbee's swarm hosts can get directly at this planetary fortress
Yep.
and actually probably do quite a lot of damage to it. I'm actually curious because there seems to be workers going up to the left still. I'm wondering whether that's I haven't quite gotten around to fixing this problem yet.
Yeah, but then again, we still have this official third from Livibee on the siege. So, and it doesn't look like MyDarling is going to move there anytime soon. So,
That's the problem, though. I mean, that's one of the problems that Livibee has, is that this army is not moving.
yeah,
And the swarm host just walked into range.
she's taking the gold base now, though. Still, Swarm Host in the range of tanks is not what you want to have.
Not ideal.
No.
The thing is, at this point, this army needs to be broken, otherwise, hello, workers coming in, and the Lings will greet them with open teeth. Again, though, we're seeing some fantastic multitasking, some multi-pronged harassers, an attack going in on the left hand. I think it's maybe the third now.
Sending in workers.
Yeah.
Well, they were supposed to be with the mech army, I guess.
The interesting thing
Again,
here is
losing a
that
couple of meters here. This is...
thing
Livibee
that-
cannot afford to lose any of what she's got as an army's
No.
worth.
the problem that she's got is that she's so far behind where she wants to be. For instance,
Yeah.
the Enduring Locust upgrade finished about 4 or 5 seconds ago, maybe 15 seconds ago now, but because of that, that's a sort of a marker of how far behind our Zerg player is.
Yeah.
Because she had it before this stage last time, and again, it's just a marker of the Terran's constant aggression and just keeping that pressure up, and the willingness to throw workers away, apparently.
Free Swarm Hosts. Swarm
Yeah.
Hosts are really expensive units, and you really don't want to donate them.
Oh no, absolutely not.
One single Mutas trying to kill Thor's repairing.
Wow, that's brave.
No,
Although these Lings are getting a lot of kills. Oh my god, these Lings actually took down a Thor. That was fantastic. It was one of those things where the Thor realized there was something nibbling at its ankles and just turned around and went, ow, and died.
Well, the worker kill count, we have 25 killed by Livibee, but 81 by MyDarling, and Livibee is still 10 workers down. This is...
That's not a lot for having
She's
lost.
still on... She's basically on one mining base. We have on the gold base. The natural's almost mined out. The main is mined out, apart from the gas.
And the scary
She's
thing
really
is-
not in a good position here.
No, and the scary thing is if those Ravens got any closer, they could almost seek a missile the workers on the gold base. It would be not the best of things for Livibee, all things said, all told. Again, though, it's sort of given the level of harassment that MyDarling's been putting in, it's really difficult to see what Livibee can do about it.
Yep. And
You know, I mean, the
MyDarling
Thor's having
keeps-
+3.
Yep. And she's even getting the building armor. This is great.
Hey, if you got it, why not?
Yeah.
I think it's possible that the army next to Liverbee's third is about to finally start falling over. I mean, it's still numbing its way through locusts, and a drone or two being sent in that direction. Eee. Not a gift you want to give your Terran opponent at any point. But no,
No.
the units are being eaten slowly.
And There's another base going to fall.
Oh.
Is she gonna get the cancel?
I think if she doesn't get the cancel, there we go.
There is the cancel. Auto turrets doing some damage here.
Oh,
Just not
interesting.
enough,
Establishing the base again before the enemies even left, because it turns out I've got enough swarm hosts that I don't care.
Oh, and there's still the base under siege. Oh my god.
Because it turns out...
That was...
Thanks. Oh, those swarm hosts
25
being
more
donated
workers
right
killed.
there. Oh. That's a painful thing to see.
This is kind of... Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. That's kind of painful to see.
So... Oh, swarm hosts are seizing up in range of the tanks. But they can shoot from the high ground, so at least they're not in a terrible position.
Yeah, well, there's a GG.
GG.
MyDarling manages to even out. This is...
ASL Prime League, round of 32. Patreon.com/ASL.
And here we are, on the third map of this best of three. King Sejong Station is the name of the map, and in the bottom right-hand corner, playing in blue, it's our Terran player,
MyDarling.
and facing her in the top left-hand side, playing in the lightest shade of pink, it's our Australian Zerg,
Livibee.
I'm back.
So, fairly standard start. No shenanigans yet.
Okay.
Scanning out over the map there.
So I didn't miss anything.
Nope. It's all good, all gravy, all fun and all frolicsome. And at this stage, the only thing that Livibee has been able to scout is the fact that there's a natural gone down, which again is not that telling because it is a fairly standard timing for that sort of thing.
Yeah, this is very much true. And actually, you might have expected some cheese, but then again, at this stage of the match, you cannot imagine one of the players would go for a cheese, just because King Zedong Station does have some fairly common proxy locations for a Terran
That's
player,
true.
for example, but I think she doesn't want. She wouldn't want to risk to fail this.
No, this would be the bad time to try a cheese and
Yes.
discover that your opponent was waiting for it.
Yeah, indeed.
So, do you reckon we're just going to see a sort of an attempt to repeat what happened in previous games? I mean, there's a Terran worker out at the Zerg third. I'm wondering whether that's just a... You don't have a third, do you? You haven't got a third over here anywhere? No? No thirds? Nothing?
Oh, you know what I like? Livibee saw the SCV running in that direction and instantly scouts with the Zerglings.
Ah, but doesn't actually quite catch it.
No, she didn't catch it. The SCV is still there. It just ran up the hill.
Yeah. It's one of those slightly annoying things that when you get a map like this with a lot of different paths on it that you can take, scouting them all is difficult. Which again is why it has some very nice proxy locations, because it's got a few of them. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. The interesting thing for me at this point will be at what point does Livibee take a third, and at what point our Terran commits to, I'm going to assume, mech. What do you reckon?
Well, she did play mech twice. Why would she not play mech
This is
in
true.
the third game as well?
And we have also seen exactly 3 Marines in that bunker again.
Yeah, it's the exact same opening that she did in the other games. There is even a tech lab on the barracks again. There's a starport again. We have the Hellions again. So this is exactly the same. Even also, Livibee did open the same way as she did the other 2 games. Linkspeed just finished.
Yeah. I have a feeling that they're sort of, because of the way the previous two maps went, because of the way that everything played out before, they're both hoping that they can get the match that they won to happen again. You know, they're having that sort of, Livibee's having the thing of, if I can do what I did in game one, not take the damage early as I did, then I know how this is going to end.
Yeah.
On the other side, MyDarling is like, you know what? If we can have game two would be good. Let's do game two again. And Livibee is like, no. But Lair's coming up.
We will have to wait and see. Actually, the connection with creep towards the third base is not as easy as it was on the other maps.
This is true.
So it's a little bit tougher to defend as you have this wide opening here.
And what passes for a choke on this map is somewhat, I think, sizable would be the term.
There are only, I know there are two. Oh, these two Hellions.
Did they get caught?
No, they won't.
The thing is, at this stage, I think Hellions could potentially get away. Yeah. Actually, one thing I did see a brief moment of there that I would like to have seen more of would have been killing off those lava, because nothing says annoying to a Zerg like, hey, you know how much damage Hellions do to lava? But I guess not.
Well, lava have like 1 billion of armor, so it's really tough to kill them.
That's the thing. That's why the Hellions do so well against them, because they do 19 damage to them.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Which means they take, I think they take 15 armor.
Well, they just roast them and
Exactly.
serve them for dinner. So
kill. Just checking, they have 10 armor. So yeah, if the Hellions do 15 damage to them, 14 damage to them, they're doing 4 damage a shot. Lava don't have that many hit points.
You know what I really miss in this game so far? That's the damage from MyDarling towards Livibee. She did scout with the Hellions. She did just poke into that third. Okay, she saw there's no drones, but still
I think it may have been a good move to pull back, though, because had she left the Hellions there, the Banelings that are currently sitting around the Queen between the natural and the third of Livibee, and glowing, by the way, like the surface of the sun.
Yeah.
Gotta love the high dynamic range. Yeah, they probably would have made quick work of them.
Yeah. They
look like they're radioactive. What is that? If they were green, I would think they were scary.
They're not green, thank God. However, we have the Spire coming for Livibee again, the +1 range attack as well.
It looks like melee missile attacks for a Zerg player. Interesting.
Yep.
Could this be a transition into a slightly different setup than last time? Are we looking at Swarmhouse still?
I think she's gonna go for the Swarmhouse again. There's Infestation Pit. I mean,
it does make sense given the mech opponent.
Yeah, exactly. MyDarling is mech player through and through, it seems. I really like that. So going for Swarmhouse again would be the most sensible option here. Livibee taking a 4th base, and I cannot really understand why MyDarling lets her take the 4th base here.
I think it's partly just a lack of knowledge. At this stage, one of the things that Livibee's doing really well is keeping map control.
Look at that. There's still the Banelings there. She does have a sensor tower now, so she does see incoming attacks from almost all sides. There is...
The only thing that doesn't see it is the one with the scouting racks. So the scouting racks will do a good job on that one, I think. And yeah, there's Thors and tanks being made in preparation for Mutas or Swarmhosts. And
the 5th base from Livibee as well. My! Once that economy kicks in, and the lava, this is gonna get very, very painful.
Actually, fun thought. If you look at the range on the sensor tower, it spots the changelings as they come in, and then they disappear from it once they appear to be friendly, I think. Yep, there appears red spots on the on the sensor tower, and then as soon as they get within friendly range,
now she's
become. There you go.
Yeah, she gets the changelings, but changelings almost were not needed, as Livibee just assumed that MyDarling would go for the mech again.
Indeed.
So
Actually, it's one of the reasons why I like the sort of the playing against people you've played against before sort of thing. Oh, that was a slight issue there. Okay, it looks like a push being brought by our Terran player. The boys have been brung, but not to a massive extent, so presumably this is just a repair fest. And they're pushing on the other side. Interesting.
Oh, well.
Pushing up to that fourth.
Swarmhost not
Still
burrowed
not in
yet.
place yet. They're going to need to do something, or that base is going to go down. I don't think it can
It
actually...
does. Yeah, it does look like Livibee has to sacrifice this base, but then again, this kind of gives her a little bit of time, having the Terran nibble on a base that you actually haven't saturated yet.
You don't actually need at this stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the thing is, now that the Terran's not there, you have to assume they're going around the other side.
She didn't kill a single worker there, and oh well, she's going.
At this
Through
stage, our
the
Terran
back
player is
door.
now threatening the natural, but at this point, Livibee doesn't actually know and hasn't reassigned the Swarm Host to defend it. And this could be a painful experience. Ah, there we go, the Swarm Hosts have come back.
Mutas are.
I don't know if it's enough to save the natural, but it's certainly enough to try.
Oh, there's the Mutas. A little bit. Oh, the SCVs need to really repair this Thor, else this Thor is going to die.
Swarm
There
Hosts
it's
are
down.
gonna kill it. Oh, wow. The thing is, there's enough Terran DPS here to kill off a lot of these. Oh, the Mutalisk flying over and getting swatted.
Oh wow, but that hatchery is doomed to die, it seems.
I don't think it can
If-
actually be saved at this stage. I
it-
think
it
throwing away the
depends.
Mutalisks may not be the
It
best
depends.
play.
She doesn't focus for it.
No, she's killing off the Mutas first, I think, and then the hatchery.
Now
died.
there we go. There it's down, and this
I
was a
don't-
blow. I mean,
The thing is-
Livibee does have does start a fifth hatchery here, but still, you have the Terran at your doorstep right now.
Yeah. The thing is, the Swarm Hosts aren't rallied in. For a second there, the workers, for one round of Locusts, there were no Locusts really, and they were not doing anything.
Yep.
But I have a feeling this army could get cleaned up relatively quickly, just by having the Swarm Hosts there. I mean, this is not. I don't feel like this is going to be the same as it was in the last game, where there was that stand outside the Zerg third. Because apart from anything else, Livibee's already started targeting down those workers.
Yeah, this is very much true. This is very much true. But then again, this war still lives and has 21 kills. This is freaking amazing.
The thing is, at this
Hero
point,
Thor.
our Terran player's donating tanks to the Zerg cause, and I'm not sure that's the best of plans, if I'm quite honest. Attempting to push back using the Underseeker missiles. Terran's going to scout this, well, I say fifth base because there are only 4 at the moment, but it's technically the 6th base. And the Swarm Host, again, beating their heads against this Terran army and just not being able to overcome the repair function. And I think that's what the Terran main, the Zerg main could actually be under threat here. I don't know if it can be saved at this point, just because the tanks will stop anything coming in.
The only thing is that I'm a little bit afraid of is that Livibee is catching a lot of MyDarling's reinforcements. She just got a Thor for free just because the factories are rallied across the map.
But she's about to lose all of her Evo chambers, all of
Yes.
her tech buildings.
Yes, that as well. But still, cutting off the reinforcements is still a good thing to do.
Oh, absolutely. The problem is this, because of these workers in the natural, because of these workers that have come along with the mech army, she can't kill them.
Yep. There's a lot of workers for MyDarling that came with the mech army, so that's what I said in the last game as well. A mech army is really, really powerful if you bring workers to repair it.
And if your opponent can't focus them down, because that right there is the big deal. It's the big, like, if your opponent focuses the workers down, then yes, you've bought a little extra time for your units, but mostly you haven't saved yourself much.
Meanwhile, MyDarling is losing her 4th base.
Oh, and part of her 3rd as well.
Yeah, this actually, probably she was like, wait a minute, I did rally my stuff over there. Why is there nothing coming?
Yeah, where are my reinforcements?
Where are the reinforcements? Well, they got caught by the Mutalisk, and then she realized that she kind of was in trouble at home a little bit.
The thing is, the Terran's pushing up into Zerg's main, and I don't know if any of it can be saved at this point. I mean, just the fact that the infestation pit's there,
That
main
lair,
the lair's there rather.
that lair's clearly in trouble. The infestation pit is gonna go down.
Oh, there's nothing can save the infestation pit.
No.
It's a real shame for Livibee. Livibee doesn't want to have to rebuild all of this tech.
+3 for the Terran kicking in just now. So
the mutas are coming back to try and do the save.
Oh,
If they can get it, it would be good, but I don't think they can. I don't think there's enough of them.
does not look like there's a lair down. She's rebuilding it already at the 2 o'clock position base.
Well, it's because it's the only base that's kind of accessible at this point. Or rather inaccessible, strangely enough, given where the Terran army is. I think, however, it is going to get cleaned up slowly but surely. The Thors being good, but they're not great against ground. The only thing I think that really needs to concern Livibee at this point is the fact that the spawning pool is going to die. Because the creep's going to receive from underneath it, but... Again, we'll see. There's mutas coming across the map now, trying to do a bit of pokey proddy harassment, and that Thor is a nice donation.
Yep, but there are more Thors coming, and...
Trying to snipe it, but no.
Oh well, it got saved. 8 health points.
Health is a Thor.
Yeah, hero Thor. And it's still going to battle. I mean, there is not a single SCV left to repair it.
The thing that concerns me at this stage is the fact that unless Livibee puts a base down in the main fairly soon, Spawning Pool and Spire will both die of lack of creep.
Yep. It will take some time, but...
Oh, and this 6th base, I'm going to assume a Livibee is going to get taken down.
Yeah.
Oh, a little Lingbot run by in the 4th or 5th
the 4th base of MyDarling. Actually, slowly but surely, the ladies are wearing themselves down. Workers killed
The thing is, the workers in the Terran base are currently uncontested. There's nothing there to shoot them.
Yep.
And this mech army doesn't have the workers with it. Oh yes, it does. There it is. They're all repairing that one Thor. The question is, can the swarm hosts burst things down before the workers can get to them? Because if the tanks can be killed, the faster the tanks die, the faster the locusts can just overwhelm this force.
Yeah.
The Mutalisks trying to take turrets down. They're not being cost effective on the turrets, I don't think, but if they can get the turrets down, even cost inefficiently, they can do some awful things to this base, and that will deny the Terran some vital mining, while the swarm hosts try and pressure the other side of the map. Workers being killed, 37 Terran workers to 50 drones.
And yeah, you're completely right about Thors are not great against swarm hosts.
It's one of the things that Zerg does really well. It forces you to make choices. And one of the choices you make as playing against Zerg is, do I go for, especially when you do things like Ling Bling Muta, in order to beat the Mutas, ideally you want to clump. In order to fight the rest of it, you really, really don't. And that's a sort of the dichotomy of Zerg. You have to face something. The question is, are you also facing the thing that counters what you do to counter the first unit?
One of the strengths of Zerg is as well that they can't switch so fast. When you build Thors, they surely go for swarm hosts. Then you get the tanks, and they switch back to mutas. So that's just...
I remember that being an issue in I think it was the End of Wings of Liberty, where there was the ability to switch between Ultralisk and Broodlord. And then when the Ghost nerf happened, suddenly people were like, oh god, we can't kill everything. Although this mech army here appears just able to wander up into Livibee's natural and kill it.
Yep.
7 Seas. Apparently it's a pirate. Apparently, oh no, Southeast Asia StarCraft. Apparently, we're talking to people in the chat talking about what SC stands for Livibee. I would much prefer the idea that it stands for 7 Seas and it's a pirate-themed StarCraft clan. That would actually be a much cooler thing.
Oh well, MyDarling losing her natural in the meanwhile here. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no problem. We're seeing a fight actually happen outside the Zerg natural, which has been killed. But at this point, MyDarling's not on as many bases and doesn't have the income.
No, it does look like we have some sort of base race here.
Yeah, which is a weird one because technically speaking, both sides have units that can save them, but Livibee still has a full mining base, and incoming Seeker missiles, which don't actually kill swarm hosts. The thing is, the Terran army is a mech army and is therefore relatively static, and while it's not taking any damage now,
It
can't afford to
will.
unsiege and move because then it will take a lot of damage and. Ugh.
Yeah, well, for now, we have Livybee's mutas. There are 28 mutas on the field. We have 15 swarm hosts. That does quite a lot of damage. 6 more swarm hosts on in production as well. I kind of doubt that MyDarling is quick enough to kill off Livybee's bases fast enough.
Well, the thing is, there's swarm hosts defending them, and those swarm hosts are about to be donated if they're not careful. Ooh, there's a couple of swarm hosts trying to get into position to burrow and getting eaten alive by the mech army. The thing is, the mech army is now sitting on top of the swarm hosts, and while Livibee may have an extra base on top of this one, on top of the one that's basically, I think she's about to lose, Livybee's definitely ahead at this stage. There's no denying it.
That's for sure. Well, we have 31 to 13 workers.
Oof.
We have MyDarling very, very hard supply blocked. Oh, but Livibee still doesn't want to donate her mutalisks.
Nope. These mutas are not for donating.
Nope.
The thing is, the bulk of the Terran army is now Thor's. There's 4 tanks left.
Yeah, that's not
getting donated like that.
That's not quite a lot of tanks, and there is barely a worker left to repair, and there is also barely minerals left that you could actually repair from. So this base is going to die. But
our Terran player's not even mining really at this stage.
Yeah,
mules, I think.
There's
some workers on the third, but
that's just a couple. That's just a couple of workers, and there is still that command center hanging somewhere.
It's unfortunately not got a base.
This looks, at this very stage of the game, this looks really good for Livibee.
Indeed. She's able to basically keep spending money, keep making swarm hosts, and while ravens are being produced by MyDarling, I don't think they're going to be enough to overcome this. I think even the PDDs aren't that great, and the fact that the spores are being put down over the swarm hosts means that actually really the thing is
actually sorry to interrupt you. MyDarling has just one command center left. She just lost the floating one.
Ooh,
so this is I would think this was the killing blow.
It might well be. The thing is, the mech army is still big. It's still 68 army supply big, and the workers being evacuated before the mutas even get there. The thing is, it's more important at this stage, weirdly enough, to get the mutas to kill the base rather than worry about the nice little pick off from some mech by the swarm host there. Not necessarily killing anything,
and
but
GG.
MyDarling GG's.